Hi everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. Today I'm here with the designer card front, and this is the half teardrop. Now your dies won't come on the magnetic sheet, but I have stored mine on there so that I don't lose any of the dies that are in my set. Now from this die set we're going to create a vase. Yep, you heard me, a vase. So to start the vase we're going to take the very largest piece and we're going to cut this out of cardboard. Now I've cut my pieces, I've used boxes that stuff came in, I've used drinks boxes that I don't need anymore, I've used, this was a box that a toy came in for Ruby. I've used cereal boxes, I've used all sorts. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of cardboard and use this as our template. Some of the things that you're going to need to create your vase are some really cheap glue, and this is a huge bottle of it, so that's going to last me a long time. I've also got some white acrylic paint. And I've also got some Plaster of Paris bandages. Now these are the things they wrap round you when you break an arm or you sprain a wrist or something like that, and that will set really hard. But you're also going to need lots of pieces of paper, and you're going to dip this in your glue. Your glue will be mixed with some water and these are going to stick to your shape. Now you're also going to need the inside of another roll, and this was a kitchen roll, and all I've done is trim that down to size to fit my die. So that's going to fit that die. Now as long as your cardboard is of a suitable thickness, it's not too thick and it's not too thin, cut it into sizes that you need and you can run that through your die cutting machine. Now I haven't loaded mine in properly and it's not cut right the way to the end, but that's your first piece for your vase. So from the rest of your cardboard that you've got, and I've just used a packing box here, and I've cut my piece down to size, I've put my die on it, I've run that through my machine, and I've done that lots and lots of times to give me all the pieces that I need for my vase. So another way you can do this, if you find that it's your cardboard is too big, you can just trace around the outside edge of your die, and then once you've done that you can just cut that out as many times as you need. You can always come back and cut some more if you don't have enough, and that will give you your patterns that you need for your vase. So these shapes are all cut using the largest die. You can create another vase for yourself by using this size and cut all your shapes to that size. So once all your pieces are cut and you have your tube, you're going to cut this so that it just fits on the sides. Now you need it level on the bottom, so you can always trim the top off again if you need to. If you have different size cardboards from your cuts, then try and use thick ones on opposite sides of each other and then interfill the rest with the thinner ones. So I'll show you what I mean. We're going to add some glue down this seam, and I'm using hot glue because it's a little bit stronger than a wet glue, and we're just going to add that to one side. Now if you see what I mean, you can trim that off at the top where it's too long. So once you're happy that they are glued in place, go on the opposite corners on the other side as well and glue these in place. Make sure it's level at the bottom and straight up the tube, and we'll leave that to set up. So once you have these 3 in place, take another one, add your glue and add it to the opposite side. So that it marries up with this one. And again, trim it off at the top if you need to. So now you've got 4 sides to your vase. Now all you're going to do with the other pieces is keep on adding them in opposite sides until you've filled the whole thing. So once you have all your side pieces glued in place and you've trimmed it at the top so it's level, you've already glued them on at the bottom so that they're level, and now your vase will stand. And that's going to be the shape of your vase. Now in this cup I've mixed a half and a half of glue and water. So I'm just going to mix this well, and then I'm going to add all my little paper pieces to this and stick them to my vase. This is just some very cheap paper, and we can add this to it as well if we wanted to. So don't go and buy anything specific, just use what you have around your house. And we'll tuck it down the sides so that it adheres to all the bits. And you're going to do that so that it's all covered. And I'm going to carry on using this blue kitchen roll because it's very easy to glue on. It dries very quickly and it gives a nice uniform effect on your vase. There we go. Don't worry about the sizes of the paper. Just get it on there. So I've added 2 coats of the paper to my shape, and it's very wet, but as it dries it will dry really stiff and really hard. So just leave it on one side now for as long as it takes to dry that piece off. So here we are a few days later, and this is now completely dry and it's hard. So what you're going to do now is take your Plaster of Paris bandage. Now I like to cut mine into smaller pieces. It's easier then to apply it to my vase. And I have a jug of water. And all I'm going to do is bandage first and then add it to my vase. So make sure it's nice and straight and fit it onto your vase. And you're going to overlap all the pieces as you go around it. And you're going to do that until that vase is completely covered. So we'll just tuck some in at the top just to keep it sturdy. And you can see that the Plaster of Paris is dissolving as you put it onto your vase. So you can always add more water with your brush if you wish, but you're going to add that now so it's all nice and smooth. So once you have your plaster of Paris bandage all over it, you're going to set it on one side and let it dry. And that again will take maybe a couple of days for this all to dry and be really hard. So here I just have a used up cellophane roll, and I've just put a top on it and wrapped some stuff around the edge, and this now I'm going to attach to the bottom of my box. So we'll put some glue, and it's still wet, but we'll put some glue on there, and then we'll flip it over and we'll add this to the bottom there. And then I'm going to cover that also with plaster of Paris. So here we are back again. This is now all dry and it's really hard. Now if you wanted to, you could do another layer of the bandages, but I'm going to use some loose plaster of Paris, and I'm going to apply it. You can use either a stick or a spatula or a brush, or you can just put it on with your hands. But what I'm going to do is, with my measuring cup, I'm going to take one of the plaster of Paris and I'm going to add the same amount of water. So all I'm going to do now is just mix it up with my spatula, and that's too thin. So I'm going to add some more, and I'm going to mix that until it's a nice consistency to add to my vase. Now bit by bit I've added another complete cup to my water, and it dries very quickly, so you'll need to work quite fast. Now if you wanted to leave your vase as it is, you could just sand that down and leave it, but I'm going to add this other coat on to make it a lot more smooth. So I'm going to spread this now all over my vase. Now I'd rather make too little than too much, because I can always mix up some more, but if I don't use it all, it will be wasted because it does dry very, very quickly. So I'm just going to apply this now with my hand, and I'm going to make sure that my hand is wet so that I can get this on nice and smooth all over my vase. So there it is. I've applied all my plaster of Paris. It does dry very quickly. It's drying now and it gets quite warm when it dries, but the smoother you can get that with your hands, the less sanding you will have to do at the next stage. So we'll leave that now to dry completely, and then we'll come back and do some more. So once this is all dry and it's nice and hard, you're going to take some sandpaper and you're going to sand this as smooth as you want. Now if you're happy to leave that bumps and lumps in your design, then just leave it as it is, but I want mine just a little bit smoother. Now this is a fine grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to rub over the vase until I'm happy with the outcome. Once you've done that and you're happy with it, clean it all off, clean up your area, get rid of your sandpaper, and now we're going to paint the whole lot inside there as well. We're going to paint this all white. So we're going to give it a good coat of white acrylic paint, and once that's dry I'm going to give it another coat of the same paint. So let's move on to the next stage. What I've done with mine is I have sprayed it with some of this Plasticoat Super Gloss, and it's just a plain white, but it brings a lovely shine up into the vase. So now we can get to the stage where we can decorate this, and with that, and for that I should say, I'm going to use some silver leaf. Now in my garage I was very lucky to find this. It's an old ceramic stand and it was absolutely filthy. So I've brought it in, I've cleaned it all up, and I've sprayed it with some white paint that will match the vase. And I'll show you how I'm going to dress these two up at the end. But I'm also going to add some silver leaf to this. So for this I have some metal leaf sizing and of course some silver sheets of metal leaf. This is not expensive, it's not real silver or real gold that I use. It's just a craft thing, and it comes in sheets like this. So you need to apply your sizing first, let it go tacky, and then apply your silver leaf. And all I'm going to do is just dot this on with a sponge, and I'm going to add it randomly over the vase, and that will cover any imperfections that are in that vase as I do it. So just apply a little bit of your sizing to your sponge and then just blot it onto your vase. Now I've filled the centre of this with some Oasis, and that's to add my artificial flowers to. So we're just going to dot this onto both pieces, and you can't see it very well because obviously it's white, but once the silver leaf is applied you will be able to see the effect. And I want this to look really kind of distressed, with the silver leaf as if it's falling off the actual piece. So once you've got your leaf on, your silver leaf or your gold leaf if you prefer it, just leave it to dry. And I've done this as well. So once that's all dry now, I can come back and take off all the excess silver that is on there. So once this is all dry now and it's not sticky anymore, take a soft cloth and just go over the top of it just to remove any of the loose flakes that are still attached, and it will smooth it all out for you. The silver leaf will hide any imperfections that you've got in your vase, and it will look beautiful once it's got flowers in it. So we'll just finish cleaning this up and then we'll start to dress it with the flowers. Now you can see the loose leaves coming off it. You can see the loose flakes coming off, but the rest of it is lying quite smooth. And there is a big imperfection there, but you can't really tell because of the silver leaf on it. So that is really, really pretty now. So once I have the silver on my vase, I have a selection of green and white flowers to add to it. So I'm going to play around with these now, having a dry run, and see what I like where. And once I've done that, I'll show you the finished object. So there's my floral display in my silvered vase, all ready to add to my stand. And I'll put the two together and show you what they look like. So there's the beautiful vase that's made out of cardboard, and it's now been sprayed white and silver leaf added to it, and there it is on its stand, and it's there to show all my lovely flowers off. Now obviously because it's made from cardboard you can't put real flowers in it, but I think that's a lovely display just as it is. And there is my little ruby. So here are some of the pieces that I've used to create my vase. I've cut all the pieces that have been glued onto the cardboard tube from this half teardrop shape, I've used Plaster of Paris bandages, and then I've sprayed the whole lot. Once it's been dried, I've sprayed it with super gloss, and this is just a spray paint. I've added the silver leaf in with the metal leaf sizing, and of course the silver leaf that's underneath there. And that's created a really pretty vase that I was fortunate enough to find my stand for, and I've made the two match together. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please join me on the next one, and I'll see you again soon. Why not subscribe to my channel so that you never miss a video? Click the notification bell and you'll always know when I add a new one. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.